The Formula One world has been rocked to its core. What began as whispers has erupted into a full-scale paddock earthquake. Christian Horner sacked. Gone mid-season, abrupt, no press conference, no warning. While Red Bull called it a restructuring, insiders know the truth. Tensions had been simmering for months, maybe even years. But just as the paddock scrambled to process Horner's fall, a second revelation detonated. Max Verstappen was allegedly seen meeting with Mercedes team boss Toto Wolff on a yacht in Sardinia. What started as fan-driven sleuthing, tracking private jet routes and yacht logs, has spiraled into the biggest Formula One bombshell in a decade. Verstappen, the face of Red Bull Racing, was confirmed to be in Sardinia. At the exact same time, Toto Wolff's yacht was anchored there. Coincidence? Not in Formula One. Let's break this down, because what we're seeing isn't just about Horner's exit. It could be the beginning of a seismic shift in Formula One. Christian Horner's dismissal didn't happen in a vacuum. It followed months of deteriorating relationships, especially with Jos Verstappen, Max's father, from public spats to cold stares on camera to a scandal that dominated headlines. Jos openly called for Horner's resignation. Max stayed silent, but his silence spoke volumes. And then came the internal shakeup. Horner was placed on so-called gardening leave. But we all know what that really means. He's out, gone, cut loose, reportedly walking away with up to 60 million euros in compensation. That number alone reveals how desperate Red Bull was to make the change. But why now? Why in the middle of the season? And more importantly, what role did Max play? Because just days later, Verstappen's jet is tracked flying from Nice to Sardinia. At first, fans assumed it was a quick post-race getaway, but then came the bombshell. Yacht tracker data revealed 2 luxury vessels anchored off Sardinia's coast. One linked to Max's entourage, the other Toto Wolff's. Former driver Ralf Schumacher didn't hold back. On a German podcast, he said it plainly. Max and Toto had coffee. Now in Formula One, coffee isn't casual. It means talks, it means proposals. And potentially, it means contracts. This would be the biggest transfer shock since Lewis Hamilton left McLaren for Mercedes in 2013. And that move, it reshaped the modern era of F1. George Russell's contract expires at the end of the season. While Mercedes has banked heavily on teenage prodigy Andrea Kimi Antonelli, Wolff might be dreaming of a bolder lineup. Imagine this: Antonelli and Verstappen. One rising star. One reigning king. A fresh dynasty built in Brackley. Meanwhile, Red Bull is unraveling, even with Verstappen scoring 165 of their 172 total points. The team sits fourth in the Constructors' Championship. Aston Martin is rising, Ferrari is closing in, and McLaren is already ahead. The dominance Red Bull once enjoyed, fading fast, and Max, he's under contract until 2028. But everyone in the paddock knows that contracts in F1 are built on fine print and exit clauses. Just ask Sebastian Vettel. Just ask Fernando Alonso. Or Lewis Hamilton. The whispers are loud now that Max's team issued an ultimatum before Horner's removal: either he goes or we do. And now that Horner's gone, what if that was never enough? What if the team culture itself is broken? Racing is about trust, about vision, about leadership. And at the moment, Red Bull feels rudderless. Let's zoom out. Mercedes is launching a new GT3 program, and Max Verstappen is deeply passionate about endurance racing. GT3. Le Mans. Multi-class strategy. This isn't just about 2026, it's about legacy, brand, engineering alignment. Imagine Verstappen leading Mercedes in both Formula One and GT racing. It's a multi-platform empire in the making. Back in Milton Keynes, Red Bull is scrambling. They've promoted Laurent Mekies to CEO. They've shuffled management roles across Red Bull and RB. But leadership reshuffles don't rebuild fractured loyalty. And speaking of loyalty, Verstappen might not have much left to give. We've seen it time and time again. When top-tier drivers feel instability, they walk. Alonso walked away from McLaren and Ferrari. Vettel left Red Bull for Ferrari. Hamilton shocked the world when he left Mercedes for Ferrari this season. And now, Verstappen might be next. It all came to a head at Silverstone. Multiple sources reported that Jos Verstappen clashed with Christian Horner in front of the Red Bull press officer. A heated argument, visible tension, and total collapse of respect. Jos hasn't spoken to Horner since last August. Their relationship was unsalvageable. And now, Horner is gone. But Max hasn't signed anything. Even after Horner's sacking, Max visited Red Bull HQ. Was it to show support or begin negotiations to leave? That's the million-euro question, or maybe the 60 million one. Red Bull is in survival mode. 2 races remain before the summer break, Hungary and Belgium. Their chances to stabilize the situation are slim. But Mercedes, they have the budget. They have the infrastructure, and most importantly, they have Toto Wolff, a master strategist, the man who brought Lewis Hamilton 7 titles, the architect of the most dominant team in F1 history. And if he brings Verstappen on board, he flips the championship narrative overnight. So here's the question. Is Max Verstappen about to leave the team that made him champion? Or is he using this moment to reshape Red Bull in his image? One thing's for sure. Red Bull is no longer in control. The power might be shifting to Brackley. Let us know in the comments. Do you believe Max Verstappen will be wearing silver in 2026? Or will Red Bull pull off a last-minute miracle? If you love Formula One, the real stories behind the scenes, the power plays, the contracts, and the chaos, then make sure you're subscribed. Because this is only the beginning. Like the video, hit that bell icon, and stay tuned for the next chapter in the untold story of Formula One.